I'm very proud and happy to announce the opening of Channel 19. Since Channel 19 is designed to meet the needs of all citizens in its viewing area, from preschoolers through to adults, the Ontario government felt that it was appropriate to establish a special authority to administer and coordinate policies both for this channel and for educational communications throughout the province. The nucleus of the staff of the authority is made up of a number of professional educators and broadcasters. We have thus, I believe, the ideal amalgam of the educator and the broadcaster who should produce for you the kinds of programs that you will find stimulating and useful.
Now that was Ran-Eyed 20 years ago. And here is Ran-Eyed today, unchanged, so it must be a great way to live, Ran. You were TV Ontario's chairman for those first 9 years or so of its life. Whose idea was TV Ontario? How did it get started in the first place?
Well, I suppose it was really Bill Davis. When John Robarts appointed a Minister of Education, he decided that Ontario was going to have educational television. So we set up a small section in the Department of Education, and from there on, I was brought in about 1966.
Kicking and screaming, I heard.
Well, I mean, actually, the reason when I was asked to take over the particular director of this branch, they said, well, they wanted somebody from Ontario with a background in broadcasting, education, administration, and they had only been able to find 3 people, and the other 2 had turned it down, so there I was.
And the person who did that urging was Bill Davis, who was in England and unable to be with us tonight. But before he left, he recorded this birthday message in conversation with TVO's Mike McManus.
Harry and Ran, it's a pleasure to be associated with you in this sense. In talking to Michael before I made this brief tape, he explained to me it was a 90-minute program. You two were going to monopolize most of it, and he felt this was grossly unfair, and so he felt that I should contribute something in the neighborhood of 10 or 15 minutes. You know, I think it's really important the viewers know the true story. This isn't the 20th anniversary. We really go back before that. We go back to the days when Elva Yost, who has become, I think, one of the great assets of TV Ontario, was actually opposed to what the government was doing. I can recall in the very early days that as Minister of Education, Ran, I think we almost drafted you out of a remote spot from this province. Didn't get any draft choices. You took on the responsibility, and of course, you have done a tremendous job in developing TV Ontario. The early days, Harry, it'll come as a shock to you. The teaching profession wasn't totally enthused. They sort of envisaged educational television replacing classroom teachers. Never the intent, never has happened, and of course it has become, I think, a great tool for the teaching profession in the classrooms across this province. We even had difficulty, Harry, you won't believe this, with the CBC. When I say you won't believe it, you were there, so you might. I can recall their reluctance to have a provincial authority moving into the field of television because it was their jurisdiction. But after lengthy discussions, commitments that, in fact, we would stick to education, ultimately we found a solution. I've watched TV Ontario grow. I've been a part of it. I like to think in some respects a partial parent, if there is such a thing as a partial parent, and I've taken great pride in what TV Ontario has accomplished. The quality of the programming, the variety, the void it really fills in terms of some of the commercial material, and some of the networks will now be upset with me, but I happen to believe it's true. And of course the, I think, great expectations that are still ahead for TV Ontario. I don't know that I'll be here, Ran, you will be, Harry certainly will, because he believes he's totally immortal, to celebrate the 40th anniversary of TV Ontario. But I can only say if the next 20 years are as great as the past 20, that there are a lot of people who deserve a lot of credit, but most importantly, the people of this province have been well served. My very best wishes to everybody.
The Honourable William G. Davis, former Premier of Ontario, in his own inimitable fashion, talking to us tonight, and a partial parent of TV Ontario. It sounds like the birth might have been cesarean.
Well, I don't know that it was cesarean, Harry. It was certainly difficult. I mean, we had a mountain of problems. It couldn't have happened, of course, without Bill Davis. I mean, Bill Davis did the political fighting for us in Ottawa. He did the fighting in Ontario to get us the funds to get on the air. So that I think that it's quite appropriate that he should be considered a partial parent. He's probably the real parent of TV Ontario.
He never even got his own show.
No.
In fact, the show they had. Tell me, when, in your opinion, Ran, TVO came of age?
Well, that's a difficult question. I mean, because we had many highlights. I guess the one that sticks in my mind is when we made the $1 million sale of our programs to NBC in New York. It was a fascinating experience for us, but because we had been fighting to get an extension of service. We had Channel 19, as you know, it started in, I guess, 20 years ago tonight, but we couldn't get the government to give us the money to extend our services. Then along came NBC and offered us $1 million, guarantee for the film rights to our programs. We took it. All of a sudden, we got good publicity in the newspaper. They thought that if we were liked by NBC, we must be.
You got to be liked.
We got to be liked over here. Yeah. So from then on, the government approved our extension of service plans, and then I guess we were on our way.
Would you say that that was its biggest achievement, that one particular sale?
Oh, I don't. Oh, no. We had no. I mean, that was in terms of, you said when it came of age. That's when we were able to expand from just one station to more than one station because of the public support that we had. No, there were all kinds of major achievements.
Well, Ran, you built exceeding fine. Congratulations and happy birthday.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Although education is a lifelong process, there's no doubt about that it has particular importance for the young. And one of the outstanding strengths of TVO was and is in its programming for children. It was a woman named Vera Nowakowski who got it all started. There was Math Patrol, Read All About It, Monkey Bars, and many more, too numerous to mention. Do you remember these two classics?
Put yourself in a book, enjoy the story inside. Read along with us and read along and ride, ride, ride. 'Cause reading is a lot of fun and easy too. So join us here at Read Along. You and you and you and you and you.
The polka dot door, the polka dot door. Let's peep through the polka dot door.
Hi. We're glad you came through the polka dot door today, because today is Imagination Day. And this is the day when we make up stories and do all kinds of special different things. Well, for instance, today, I'm going to pretend that I'm the best tapper in the whole world.
Ruth Vernon and Ted Coneybeare. Ruth, for 15 years, you've been the head of children's programming here at TV Ontario and are, therefore, I take it, largely responsible for the successes it's achieved. Explain the success. How come it worked?
Well, perhaps you should be asking the kids that question, but I think we have a terrific staff and who know children, understand children, and I think perhaps the one thing that makes them even more special is that we all have kept a quality of being a child ourselves, and so when we try to make our programs, that childlike quality comes out. So I think that is a very important thing. And Ran, in his wisdom, when he started the organization, gave us a terrific research department, and so that we can test, before our programs go out, we know that what works and what doesn't. We've already tested it so that we know that. And then our audience, our audience, whether they be parents, whether they be teachers, whether they be children, let us know. All the way through those 15 years, they let us know what they like and what they don't like. And so that we've incorporated that. We've learned through all of this, and so these ideas are now in our program. So I think we have a lot of people to thank for if our success is there.
I was just thinking that some of those very first children viewers 20 years ago are now parents themselves, I
That's
expect.
true.
And they'll be guiding their children to watch shows like Polka Dot Door. And Ted, you were the producer of that for a long time, incredibly successful worldwide. Is there a secret to Polka Dot Door?
Well, I don't think it's a secret. I think everybody knows about it. From what Ruth has just said and from the letters that have been received over the years, and certainly the sales of the series.
Yeah. The sales are one thing, but the program itself.
Well, I think it's our target audience for the 6-year-old child and younger, and it doesn't threaten them. It's kind, and they can cope with it. even if there is not an adult watching with them, there's nothing to frighten them. Although we did get letters that Polkaroo frightened some children at 2 and this sort of thing.
Well, I have some grandchildren in Nova Scotia who watch it, and they're certainly not threatened. In fact, they're enriched, and my son, who's their father, feels that it's one of the best parts of their day.
Well, that's what it was designed, to encourage the children to participate, not just sit there, but to participate verbally and physically,
Yeah.
and to use their minds, and after the show, to follow-up activities.
What is the challenge that the 90s present to programmers in the children's broadcast area? Ruth?
Well, I think we have challenges every year. I think
Of course.
the 90s aren't going to be any different. But I think that one of our biggest challenges, of course, is always the question of money. We want to keep our quality, and I think what we'd love to be able to do is keep the quality and make more programs so that our repeat factor would go down. I think everyone out there probably is aware that our repeat factor is bigger than perhaps it should be. I think that also Ted has mentioned about the interactivity right from the beginning of Polka Dot Door through today's special up and especially in Join In. We've been very solicitous of getting children to be active while the program is on air. And in Join In, they have to play parts in the play and all kinds of things. So we hope the new technology that comes across in the 90s will allow us to be even more interactive. The children will now really be able to answer the games. They'll really be able to do some of these things.
So it's not a passive program.
No,
You just don't sit and watch and let it be done unto you.
That's right, that's right.
Well,
And
that's the secret.
that's the secret.
I think that's the secret of all of the shows that we've been producing.
On behalf of the many children in the province who love Polkaroo, we have one at home. Thank you both very much.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
TVO didn't stop with programming for preschoolers. It created a whole host of programs for both in-school and home audiences. Here's the opening to one of its most recent and most successful creations.
Hocus Pocus, Alan
Today's
Scoblard.
special, it's for everyone.